Hey there, guys. After that disappointment, we have a road match here against Red Bull Leipzig. So we go back to northeast Germany for this match. That was a frustrating defeat, and there are a couple of things that we're trying to get happen behind the scenes at the end of that defeat. That was the most frustrating match I've had so far in this particular save, and was not something that endeared me to certain players in the squad. I will just put it that way. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I haven't done too much financial damage to the team, and that's the problem. It was the Super League Cup that we lost out on, which means many million euros of potential revenue that we will not receive in this club. And I would say it is chiefly due to the poor actions of maybe one or two players. So we'll see if we can rebound from this and get this team to score a goal. Kind of surprised that we've had a little bit of a goal-scoring drought here lately. I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on. There's Carlos Alberto, who's a new signing, who wins that and then loses it again. We signed him because we need somebody who can actually play wing-back, and he definitely is able to do that. Levi Yashin with an amazing save on that shot from the middle of nowhere, and this time he's unable to save it, and we're down 1-0. So we are in trouble. Now, this one doesn't matter quite as much. This is a Premier League match against Red Bull Leipzig. We've already won. We basically won our division in the league. We're up by like 12 points. But it would be nice to not lose. I mean, we don't want to lose a match. We want to get a losing streak going. That's John Terry with that poor pass. He's another new signing that we have, and he's very, very young. But I tell you, Levi Yashin's not young. He should have made a better save. And we've got other guys in the back who are also not so young and don't have a lot of excuses for giving up goals. That Werner shot was knocked out for a corner, and so we'll see if we can get this one knocked away again. It's Raum to take the corner, and we are able to head it out somewhat. Red Bull Leipzig are in 40th place. They're not a good club at all. And you would expect us to be able to dominate them. There's Bobby Charlton knocking that one off. Bobby Charlton, by the way, is one of the ones who's kind of not quite on the naughty list yet, but he's getting attention from me because he doesn't score. And I think part of this is the fact that I'm not playing him as a striker, I suppose, but it is problematic because we're not going to start changing the tactic all of a sudden. I think we're better off finding players who can play the tactic. That's that old question in Football Manager, which is, so do you change the tactic to suit your players, or do you change your players to suit the tactic? And I am clearly a fan of changing the players. That was a poor shot by them. Fortunately for us, we're only one goal behind, but this team should never be one goal behind. We do have two new guys there in the back, Ronnie Edwards and John Terry, and that might be part of the problems that we're having on defense, but that's really no excuse for us not being able to attack. Here's Breitner. We also have the two new wingbacks in, which might be the other problem, and Breitner has the ball just taken away from him. I mean, it looked really, really easy for them. And the header, fortunately, is high and away, but we better watch out. I'm going to have to worry a little bit about morale as well, because I think the players were upset with me throwing the bottle at the end of that last League Cup match. But we really should have won that match. There's no question about it. And they deserved all the bottle throwing they got. Charlton over to Terry. Good job by Jong Woo-young to win that one back for us. And this Carlos Alberto pass to Charlton is just really bad, and it's telegraphed. So let's see what we can do to win this ball back. And we're not doing very much at all. We're kind of scampering around on defense. We're playing catch-up here. And our defensive player is running through the attacking player. It's kind of comical to watch. I guess you're supposed to remember that this is just a graphical depiction of what is happening theoretically on the pitch. I would say just that I'm ready for FM25. It would be nice if that would come out tomorrow. I think I mentioned before, I know that FM24 is out. I'm not going to buy these new games until things are ready for them, because I don't want to end good saves to go chasing after weird saves in the beta where everything's wrong and where you get millions and millions of euros for every player that you sell from Saudi Arabia and all that. Charlton wins this back. Good job over to Edwards. Edwards down to Terry. Terry back to Edwards. Back to Terry, and he doesn't know what to do, so he just stands there and lets them take the ball, and they score, and it's 2-0. And Terry's going to have to come out. Terry's going to have to come out after that. There's no question about that. That was really, really bad. We'll put De Vici on. That was bad, and I should have known not to start two of these really new guys there. He just stands there with the ball, doesn't know what he's doing. and it's taken off, and he's got to take the blame for that goal. So we are down 2-0, and we need to get something in us because we should be playing better than this. It's looking like we have no idea what we're doing. He looks frustrated for being taken off early. He's going to be more frustrated when he gets a fine, and if he's upset about that, he's going to get another fine. Rashford doesn't quite get there. And this is deflected off of a defender, so much for that. Doesn't quite happen. De Vici over to Edwards, down to Pogba. Pogba up to Charlton, doesn't quite find him. And let's get this ball back. We haven't looked like, it looks like we're sort of sleepwalking through this match, and it's Simons here, and his shot has popped up for another corner. So this Red Bull Leipzig team that is way below us in the league. We're in position number 1. They're in position number 40. Just about scored again. That's Jong Woo-young, who is the hero for keeping that one out. And I think that we may have to have some changes here. It's going to be difficult to get the sort of change that we need to see, but we're having problems in the squad. And just as I thought when I was making this list, Bobby Charlton is having a bad match. I think I mentioned this before, he's another one who is on the list of players that I'm upset with, and we're going to start going after certain guys who I know are going to stay on the pitch, and we're going to really, I can't hammer down John Terry. I really want to, but we're going to make some changes here. We're going to make at least one. So De Vici's having a hard time meeting the pace of the match, but Bobby Charlton is really disappointing himself. We're going to put Dennis Law on. And we'll see how much further this goes. We can't afford to lose a lot of matches here in this save, like I said, because of the financial damage I've done to the club. If we end up not winning, this is going to end up being a really short save because we're going to go into administration. Figueroa over to Pogba to Rashford, and he just doesn't play that well. And then he's called for the foul and gets a yellow card. What was that? Play the game the right way. Jong Woo-young is injured, so he's going to come off. Jong Woo-young was probably a really poor signing on my part in retrospect. He's probably not quite good enough to do what we're asking him to do. And he's definitely not good enough for the salary that he wanted to command. And he's going to learn that pretty soon here as law, and he just has it taken away from him. And that's another one who I have my eyes on and who I've been wondering about. So Werner gets the goal, Timo Werner, and it's 3-0 for Red Bull Leipzig. And this is looking pretty bad. And so, we can't shout from here, but we're going to do another shout here and try to get things turned around. This is awful from our back. And I thought that the transfers that I did and the people I pulled in would help us and we'd get more rest and we were going to look better. And we just look absolutely awful at the end of this. So we're going to do a little berating here and see if that can't wake somebody up. Because this just looks awful. It's kind of funny, the other save, the Mars FC save and all of that, we're doing so well, and yet in this one, we just look horrible. This doesn't look like a great team at all, but look at when you look at the roster, you would think that we would do very well in this save. Here's De Vici over to Pogba, on to Rashford, and on to Figueroa. Figueroa to Breitner, back to Figueroa, over to Pogba to De Vici, and the transfer window is still open, and that's one of the things I want to remind these guys of. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed to sell some of you, have you go somewhere else if you're not going to play here. Edwards with the awful shot, the ridiculous shot from the middle of nowhere, and that's the thing that we get. What happens is we feel complacent, and then we go shoot the ball from the middle of nothing, and nothing happens with it, and it's a problem. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who ends up remaining on this club and who ends up leaving. But we're going to have some action in the 1 week that we have left in the transfer window, and we're going to try to solve some of these problems. Levi Yashin with the save, so that looks pretty good. We do have Pele on the pitch. He's not doing anything again. So there's some sort of problem that's going on, and we need to get to the bottom of it if we want to stand a chance of winning anything. It is possible that throwing the bottle may have been the thing that did it, but we need to play better than this. So I guess that goes to show that, you have to keep your bottle throwing at a minimum. Rashford down to Carlos Alberto, who just is not with it. He's not good enough, doesn't know the tactic. And here's Timo Werner again scoring the goal. It's 4-0 for Red Bull Leipzig. So, pretty poor hat trick for Werner. And you've got to ask some questions here at the back about where certain guys are and how they're not showing up and what exactly is happening. I know that in any given match, anybody can beat anybody else, but this is a particularly frustrating display from a team that is much better than this. We have about 20 minutes left in this match, and displaying little emotion, blah, 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 whatever. I'm sorry, we don't want to send a tactical change out. What we want to do is we want to try to fire the team up. De Vici over to Pogba, on to Figueroa. And I have a feeling that if I give another angry post-game talk, I may wind up with some angry and upset players. So we'll see what happens. Again, I mean, the longevity and length of the save kind of depends upon what happens in our success on the pitch. If we lose a lot of matches like this, it's not going to last a long time. It really is actually, believe it or not, easier in Football Manager, especially in something like the World Super League, to start further down and build your way up instead of starting from the top and trying to buy a bunch of players. Carlos Alberto looks like he's just simply awful. He's having a really poor match. He's about to get a major fine. And we're going to need to do something here to try to get things turned around. And Pele wins this over to Law. But it's not just him. It's the thing. We can't just blame a single player, as I started to do when I took John Terry off. This is one of those matches where the fault is very, very large, and it is shared by many parties. Figueroa over to Alberto, on to Pele. De Vici over to Figueroa again, over to Pogba. I mean, we're just standing around and bunching up in the middle. That's the problem. Nobody's looking to make a run. Here we go. Here's Law. And, I mean, that's deflected, right? But why are you shooting with a man standing right in front of you, right? There are other players on your team you can pass. Breitner here with the corner. And he'll take a second to figure this out. Then he takes it over looking for Pogba. I can't find him. It's Edwards, and he plays poorly with it, gives up possession too easily. So 4-0, man, this is an absolute drubbing for this squad. And again, with as they almost score number 5, if we had a team that was a little bit further down in the pecking order, I'd be able to look at this and say, well, maybe somebody had a bad match, or we're going to have to make some long-term changes. With this one, though, I start to worry, and I think, man, we're going to play much better teams than Red Bull Leipzig in the very near future. We can't have another match like this, and we're going to need to figure out what exactly is going on, and we'll need to stamp it out right away. This looks really, really bad, and we may need to make some more personnel changes is what I'm saying. And there are some players who I think we need to just get rid of. Even if they're good, we may need to just sell them and try for something else and try for something that's going to work a little bit better. I mean, they're just running circles around us. It's Dennis Law who finally, I think the first time this match he's done anything good, passes that over to Pele. Pele with the speed, and nobody's up with him at all. There's nobody anywhere, and that's the end of the highlight. Kind of a frustrating highlight to see the end of, and we go back and see their attempt on goal, and it was a sad look for our defense that looked to be completely backwards. That was a pass up to Rashford, who's not really trying very hard. And this is going to end in a very, very sad state. So we lose this match 4-0. Wait, a 0.13 XG. We did get 51% of the possession. There's one positive aspect of this, but not so good. Changes are coming. Talk to you later.